Wait, hey guys, boss, let me cut you off for a second, and definitely want to bring our next guest into that topic of discussion. It's the biggest fight that's coming up soon so far in 2012, and you're talking about obviously Sergio Martinez facing Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the son of a legend. But without further ado, speaking of legends, Hall of Famers, this guy right here does it all on this. This is a celebrity. Louis, you said this guy right here. This is what you call a superstar and celebrity in boxing. He paid his dues for I don't even know how many years, but he's worked with them all.
Okay. Could you let him get back to what they were talking about? I was enjoying listening to him talking about Martinez, and I was going to be coming on with his experience. So everybody knows who I am. I'm considered that slow. First, go ahead. I want to finish here what you were saying. I got to be talking about stuff in a few weeks. In fact, much of it I was just talking about an hour ago about the two fights coming up. But go ahead and finish telling me what you were saying. I think it looked like Sergio was going to be a little bit.
I'm saying like this. Manny, there's nothing else for me to say, man. You are the man, not just only because you're on the show tonight. Obviously, you joined us this evening, so you get more brownie points with us. Man, I'm telling you like this. This is one of the coolest. And I don't throw around the coolest mofos in the world around too much, but this is one cool customer right here, and it's an honor to have his knowledge and just everything, man. I mean, Manny, what can I say that hasn't been said already? But Emanuel Steward, welcome back to ATG Radio, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
So let me ask you this real quick. I'm going to get right into it. You're a busy man.
When you cut in for me, who was talking?
There you go. That was Michael Doss. I'm going to pass you to Michael Doss. He's talking about, obviously, Sergio Martinez today.
Yeah, well, let him cut him off. I wanted to let him finish. I was getting into that.
There you go.
I basically just saying I just don't see – I mean, Chavez is a good fighter. I think he's grown, definitely, but I don't feel that he's grown to that level yet. I think that Martinez gets stronger as the fight progresses. Chavez, he's a strong guy throughout the whole fight. But, what people don't understand, and a lot of people forget, and it hasn't been too long ago, Andy Lee won the first 4 rounds. Andy Lee was outworking him. And people think he's just going to blow away. There's people out there now that's saying, he's going to blow away Martinez. This is going to be a mismatch. I think the fans are basically letting their emotions get to them, and they're thinking things that fans do. I mean, but they're kind of, they're not giving Martinez the credit that he deserves. Martinez gets real strong as a fight.
But the reason why I think that is, though, I think we're forgetting here that Chavez is, without a doubt, the most greatest market fighter maybe ever for not having the most talent. I don't even think he had an amateur fight. So
yeah, he did.
They've done a hell of a job selling the fight.
Fights, but he had exhibitions. He had an exhibition against Jorge Paez Jr., who actually beat his brother Omar. To be honest with you, when your dad is one of the greatest fighters in Mexico, an amateur career, he had better than an amateur career. He was behind the scenes. He was, at the training camps with his dad. A lot of amateurs that maybe had 50, 60 fights can't say that they've been in them kind of camps that his son was in, that Chavez Jr. was in. So a lot of that, it ain't like he just came out of Mexico with no experience whatsoever. His dad was a legend. His dad is a legend.
Yeah, but he is to the point where he is, and he's to the point where he is, and he hasn't beat a live, fresh, a real top 10. As Rubio was shot. Andy Lee was losing damn near the whole fight to Craig McEwen. The fight before that.
But Lee gave him hell the first 4 rounds, and that's a blueprint.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Lee was a guy that was losing to a guy McEwen, Peter Quinlan, who a lot of people don't register high, as far as the real goods.
Regardless of styles in these fights, there's no question Andy Lee is a top 10 contender at 160 pounds.
I don't think he was fresh, though. I think Andy Lee was more to the downside of his career, though. Like I said, the fight before Andy Lee, let's not forget, he's coming off a fight with Craig McEwen, and he's losing damn near every fucking round. He was getting shut out by Craig McEwen,
Yeah,
so at the end of the day, it ain't like
Chavez.
Chavez
is... context. In my opinion, Carlos Molina is undefeated against Chavez.
Okay, let's not also forget Chavez struggled against John Duddy. That looked like a goddamn Gotti Ward fight, and Billy Lyle, who was considered a 50-50 guy, beat his ass.
If it was reality talk, he'd be probably 40-something and 4. in my opinion.
Well, Chavez Jr., with the one thing we all have to agree to, he's been, to me, the best marketed fighter I have ever saw in my life.
Without a doubt,
and also Bruce Trample and Top Rank. I mean, I don't mean the guy that had very little amateur experience. I mean virtually nothing but really like sparring sessions, this and that. But nevertheless, they have marketed him to the point, and he's still up in this. All of this credibility he's got for the most part, it's amazing. It's off of the one fight. Before the Andy Lee fight, nobody even took it serious. It was a total joke. But all that one fight that Andy Lee performed is thrown in where he's in the betting now. Everybody's come back and forth betting off of one fight because that was just one of those situations. And he's going to be the first fighter named after his father. That's going to be in a mega $1 million fight, and it's going to be an unbelievable crowd. I think it's going to be a pro Chavez crowd, and he has a chance of even winning. It's just amazing how just out of nowhere, but particularly the Andy Lee fight is really what gave him the credibility to be considered seriously. The other fights was nothing but that one fight right there, and as a result of it, I myself never gave him much of a chance. But based on that performance, regardless of what we all may think of him in his past, that's solidly in this fight now. Believe me, especially with that pro Mexican crowd. But he's solidly physically and spiritually. He's a competitive guy, and that's what I like about Sergio. Experienced, seasoned, but also a high-spirited, emotional guy. And that's what those two guys clash. I think we're going to have a hell of a fight going on.
Do you think, Manny? Do you think?
Wait, Eddie, time out real quick. Eddie, time out real quick. We got Manny Steward on the line. Actually, we got support from his hometown, the Motor City. I want to bring on real quick. I want to take one call real quick. Corey from Detroit. I know he was interested in what we were talking about on Chavez Martinez, but you're on the line, ATG Radio, with Hall of Famer Emanuel Steward.
Oh, hey, how you doing? How y'all doing? Y'all all right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, how you doing, Corey?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that when I seen the Andy Lee versus Chavez fight, like I think Andy Lee was winning the fight. I think Andy Lee just got gassed out. He was tired. I think he drained himself out because he was beating Chavez. I mean, Chavez to me is overrated. It's a lot of guys. He didn't really fight nobody. And Martinez been wanting to fight him for a while, and it's like he's been ducking him. And now Martinez got the shot. He's gonna have to pay come the time being because Martinez still wanted to fight Chavez, but Chavez kept ducking fighters. The most fights I've seen was boring to me. And now
Corey, but on the flip side,
But nevertheless, I think that Chavez is physically going to be, natural, about a good 10 pounds or more, okay? This crowd is going to be very, very, very pro-Mexican. And based on him looked like inherited that pretty good chin from his daddy. I think he's definitely got to be considered seriously in this fight.
Are you picking 10, man?
No, I'm excited too, and I'm all a little confused myself in trying to figure out who's going to win the fight. But I just don't see it as being like I thought before, a Sergio Martinez, this show. I just don't see it that way anymore. And I know that Sergio's going to have to really dig down and have to come through very strong going down the stretch.
Manny, how do you rate it?
And I truly agree. I truly agree with Emanuel was saying. I truly agree. He's really going to have to fight this guy. I mean, this guy, like I said, it's just, I want to see a good fight. I just want to see a good fight. These two guys been going at it for a while.
You are going to see a good fight. I mean, for more reasons than one. And not just some skill, but it's because what make great fights is the emotions and the high-spirited, competitive attitude of the fighters, whether it's Ali, Frazier, or whatever. And both of these guys are extremely high-spirited, competitive. And Martinez definitely the one that's, with more skill, experience. But I think that weight size, as Andy told me during the fight with Chavez, he says for the first 2 rounds, I was fighting like a middleweight, and for whatever reason, starting like the 3rd or 4th round, his body became like the Incredible Hulk. Because that's the bottom line. He said, I just never saw somebody's strength and everything just blossomed and went completely.
But
he said, I boxed with Latimer. Like it wasn't not even stronger than even Latimer. So if that happens to be the case, it's going to be very interesting.
But you know what? If Andy Lee stick with Emanuel Steward, Andy Lee will end up becoming a champion because ever since I've seen him with Emanuel Steward, he's been progressing. He's been doing good. He's been, like I said, you can't win them all. You can't win every fight. But if he give him a rematch with Chavez, you whoop Chavez.
Well, that may or may not happen. But as one of the guys said earlier, Andy's a good fighter, but he still got a lot of things you have to prove. The fight would make you run. Whereas we just look at all reality, he was struggling in that fight and he comes back, he beats, Brian Vera in between, but it still is a lot, but he's in the mix of the middleweight division. So let's put it that way, but to keep our focus on this fight, Martinez and Chavez actually going to be a thriller. I just see it going down the stretch because of the guys have a strong, good finishing power.
I wanted to get on here, and I wanted to say, I don't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to say it's another fight that I think this fight is going to be very uninteresting, which is Canelo versus Lopez. It's too many guys in that junior middleweight division for you to be fighting somebody that's coming from 140, 147. Like, why would you fight somebody like that?
Wait, it's so many things that goes on behind the scenes that, we as fight fans don't see. You just look at why this doesn't make sense. But if you know behind the scenes who is the promoter, this person who's got a better connection with this one, this network here, this and so many of those things become factors. Lopez's last fight, which was on a network called Showtime, was still one of the most thrilling fights of the year. I mean, I was at the time training Letterman. They called me all the way up in the mountain Austin and told me, my daughter said, Daddy, oh my God, when you get home, you got to see this fight tonight. But it's Lopez, and it's all. I mean, it was that type of a fight still, regardless of the weight, and so that created some excitement. And he's still one of the most powerful men in boxing, Al Haymon. He just signed with Al right after that. And then you look at the whole situation, and Canelo is right there with Showtime, and Showtime is as well, and it's very close with Golden Boy now. It's a whole lot of other things, what I'm saying. So you just don't look at it through. This guy is not in the right way. Forget all that stuff. The reality of it is there's so many other factors, and I think it's going to be a good fight. It would still, but just considering the weight, I think the weight disparity is too much. To me, I agree with you. I think the weight disparity is too much. And also trying to buck heads with the fight that's going on between a named Chavez from Mexico and Martinez. To me, it's bad for business. I won't even go into the way I really feel about it. It shouldn't be taking place anyway, but if not, it's not on that night, on that situation like that.
Wait, real quick, guys. While I got two Detroit guys on the line, Manny Stewart, and I got you, Corey. There was something in the news last week, Manny. I just got to get what's going on. What's your idea on this whole stuff? Is Cornelius K9 Bundridge went on a couple boxing outlets and said that you're no longer his manager. Obviously Don King's no longer his promoter. I guess he said not nothing bad to say about it, but it was just the way I got rid of Manny Stewart. Can you kind of elaborate on that whole situation?
Well, it's very clear. We made a deal. I talked to Golden Boy to win the purse bid to get him a situation where he could fight with his manager with Corey Spinks. When the highest purse bid, the bid for Don King was, I think, $51,000 for both fighters to split. And Golden Boy went out of their way based on my word and won the bid for $201, way over. And Cornelius Bundridge made $151,000 more than he ever dreamed of. And he was promised that we were definitely going to sign with Golden Boy. And afterwards, he reneged, and because of that, I totally just said I'm a person that has honor and made a commitment that these people stood up for us, and I just severed the relationship because of that. It's that simple. Because I just think it was horrible to do something like that.
So, I mean, look at this. Cornelius Bundridge. 1 second, Corey. Cornelius Bundridge. He's a good guy. He's a friend of the show and stuff. Is this a bad split? Basically, is there animosity?
Well, I have honor. If I tell you I'm going to do something and you go out on your way to live to do that, I just screw you up being involved. I just don't live that way, man. I've been around in this game a long time, and my word is my bond. And he let me down and embarrassed me. I felt person with Richard Schaefer, Eric Gomez are my friends, and so that's really it. And I would never want to be involved with a fight to hear me and K9 to fight with another promoter after what they did for us. It just is not right. And but hate to say, but let's talk about something else, please. But that's the bottom line of it right there. And that's for you hearing it for the first time for me. That's exactly what happened.
Oh, we'll get Laura to punish him, Manny, real soon.
I think, Louie, I think that's definite. Before I sent you over to Louie DeCubas, she's been quiet the whole time. Emanuel Steward, it's Kim Francesca. She's on the line right now. Kim, you're on with Hall of Famer, legendary Emanuel Steward.
Hi, Mr. Stewart. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be acquainted with you.
My pleasure also.
I had one really quick question for you. Now, we've been discussing the big fight between Chavez Jr. and Sergio Martinez, and as we all know, Chavez Jr. just fought one of your fighters, Andy Lee. But I wanted to know what your thoughts were on Chavez Jr. compared to another one of your fighters, which is his father, because I understand you trained Chavez Sr. too. Do you think he's doing a good job of living up to his dad's name as a legend, like absolute boxing legend, or do you think he still has some work to do to prove himself to the boxing public?
Well, as we said earlier, just based on the unbelievable marketing that they have did with him, he's moved without having any really much serious fight. The only contest there was Andy Lee and Rubio. And he's right now fighting in a $1 million fight. It's just unbelievable. Just being at the right place at the right time. It's just a different time in history. And then personally, I trained his father for about this, and one of the best fighters I have ever trained in my life was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Sr. And when I trained him, he actually virtually told me that he had close to, I think, about 90 fights, and he lost to Frankie Randall. And that's when Don King, his promoter, asked me to come in to help him get his title back, because at the time Mike Tyson was in prison, and Don said, "This is my only money fight I've got. So Stewart, you're going to have to help me try to trade him. So, but you'll have to go to Mexico." And to me, it was one of the best experiences I haven't had going to Mexico. And Julio was there teaching me how to speak Spanish, and he speaks much better Spanish than people realize himself. And people ask, "How do you trade him?" And I said, "Because we talk English and Spanish together." But he was an amazing fighter. He said basically no one really had trained him too much. He'd been, for the most part, but all those fights trained himself. He was an amazing guy. He had someone to wrap his hands, and beyond that, he would say, "I'm going to box somebody else with this guy, I'm boxing somebody with this," and everybody else sat down. We worked on the pads once, and Pace said, "Stewart, can we wait till we get back to the hotel room and do it in the room?" I said, "Why?" And he told me, he said, "I never did this before." I said, "What?" He said, "I've never worked on pads." He never skipped rope. I don't think he ever even beat the speed bag. But he is the guy that liked to box. And he says, "I box a lot because I have built-in instincts from sparring a lot." And when we would train, he would like to have to train to the point where he's got like 7 rounds he could go at 4 minutes each, maybe 30 seconds rest. And when he would get to that point without breathing and win every minute of each one of the rounds, he said, "Stewart, let's go to Vegas. I'm ready." But he was an amazing guy to work with. Never have I had a fighter that I worked with that had such a following of fans, and I've even been with Ali in America. Nothing exceeded the man's admiration and love that he had in Mexico. And he loved his people also. And we would be eating like in a restaurant, and they would come in and say, "Oh, Julio, we can put you in your family." At the time, his wife was Amalia, and little Julio Jr. and Omar and all that, and Christian said, "We can put you guys in a smaller, more private room." He said, No. I want to sit right here where I can be close to my people. People love to take pictures, and I could tell you some unbelievable stories, how great and gracious he was with himself, with the fans, and they loved him too. I've never saw nothing like it. But, today he worries so much about his son. He was always a worrying daddy, and he worries more about Julio Jr. than anyone. If you see him, he's the nearest Rick. And it's just fortunate that, Junior came along at the right time. Greatest, actually, matchmaker in history, Bruce Chappell. Bruce Chappell is the greatest, I think, because some guys just make great, exciting fights, like Teddy Brenner used to be at the Garden. He didn't care who won or who lost, but, he just made exciting fights. And at that time, if you didn't fight in the Garden, you couldn't fight anywhere, so he didn't care whatever. You just had to decide. But Bruce Trample has made fights where fighters grew and developed matches based on just what their talent level was at that time. And about a year ago, I think less than that, when I was doing the broadcast in Houston, we was fighting Rubio. Just another one of those cases where they just yelling him up off his daddy's name. And then from that fight, the Andy Lee fight, wow, regardless of what, he is so hot from that he has become a serious betting fighter in this fight here. And it wouldn't surprise me that he would, maybe at the last minute, he may go off as the favorite even, when all of the money comes in from Mexico. So I think it's amazing to see this, and to be a part of having working with his daddy, and then to see him still grow from the little kid that used to be with us all the time to be where he is. It's an amazing story, and I don't think it may ever be repeated in history to see two exact names to go to the level for both going to be involved in fights of this magnitude, and maybe, I don't know, this year fight may have an audience that may almost get close to his dad's audience when he fought Pernell Whitaker, I think. It's just amazing. And just through great matchmaking and being at the right place, right time, and the right name.
Well, thank you for sharing with us, Mr. Steward. I really appreciate it.
Manny, I want to pass you over to another guy. He's actually a manager of some of the manager and advisor of some of the top talent that's in boxing today. So a couple guys that are being avoided from the real big fights, and that's Louis DeCubas Jr. Louis, you're still with us, right, bro?
Yeah. How's it going, Manny?
How you doing, man? One of the best boxing guys it is. I go back to his daddy even, so but he's just a boxer when it comes down, particularly with Miami, Cubas, and everybody else all around. You do a great job.
I appreciate that.
I look at the other little kid you work with, that Rigatone, whatever his name.
Who's that, Rigo Joe?
No, the little Cuban you got. So 120.
Oh, Laura?
No, the little small ones.
Rigo Joe?
120.
Yeah, my father works with him. I don't work with him, but he's a real good fighter, that kid.
I said you're involved with him. I didn't say it directly because I knew it through your father, however you worked together. But no, he's a phenomenal fighter, too.
Oh, yeah, he's a very good fighter. Yeah, but I agree with Manny on this. I don't want to jump subjects, but I'm real excited about this Martinez Chavez. Like Manny was saying, I think Chavez is really his skills are coming to his own. The question is whether his mind will meet the skills that night. Because I think, like Manny saying, Sergio's such a strong-minded fighter, and I think you could even tell in the face-off with Max Kellerman where you could tell who was the boy and who was the man. And one guy took it as a joke, one did it, and I really think Sergio has a lot to prove, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. So I think it's going to be a great fight, and with the atmosphere of the Mexicans, I mean, the kids definitely going to be pumped up, So I think it's a can't miss fight.
Great assessment. I feel the same way. I'm excited about it myself.
Yeah, I'm real excited about it, And I think we'll see. We'll find out exactly what he's got. That's for sure. Chavez Jr. And win or lose, you still got to respect the kid for stepping up into this type of fight.
And when you have those type fights like that, regardless of who wins, who loses, both guys come out with enhanced image and credibility. I mean, it's Hearns and Leonard. They both in the great fight. Tommy lost the first fight, but his credibility and respect went sky high. And look at Vitaly Klitschko. It's still a fight that has made him popular and his fame in this signature fight is the fight with Lennox Lewis, the fight that he lost. All his rest of his career, even with all these wins, he has never had one credible fight. There's been a signature fight that made the fans really admire him as much as it was the fight that he lost was to Lennox.
Yeah.
So I think out of this fight here, both guys are going to come out with a lot of credibility regardless of what the outcome is.
No question. The most important thing is, when two of the best guys fight, regardless, win, lose, or draw for either one of them, the fans win, and that's what's important. Bring back this, like you went back in Manny's era when the best fought the best, and everyone was excited. It didn't matter whether who was there, the fans came out, and everyone was a ticket seller because all the fights were great, So if boxing starts going that way,
everybody's got a different promoter, and I don't like him, but this promoter likes him. And if they got a pay-per-view in Brooklyn, and there's more homes there than it is in Staten Island, I got to have that. And, they got that. One is the HBO, one with Showtime. it's a hell of a different ball game.
You're right. I think it has a lot to do with the organizations, man. It's like, they get 3% of each fighter, so obviously they're going to go with the fighter who's generating the most money. So I think the sanctioning body should get a flat fee. Look, you're going to get $50,000 fight, no matter who it is. And I think that would help. Obviously, things like that will never happen because we don't have control. But I think the organization bodies have a lot to do with these guys being protected.
No, they do. They do it, and it's unfortunate, but that's the fact. And we could probably do another hour-long show just talking about that, especially some of the things that I know. But anyway, that's you're right about that.
Yeah.
Hey, Manny, real quick, I'm not going to keep you, I know we kept you a couple minutes longer than we said. I apologize for breaking the deal, but Mark Abrams, publicist to the stars, our good friend, the Marvelous One, he's joining us right now. Mark, you with us, bro?
Yes, hey, Manny. A couple quick questions. I know we've been talking about the Chavez fight. You broadcasted a lot of his earlier fights. You were ringside when he fought a lot of Pacquiao and a lot of Cotto undercards. So you were calling the fights when, I guess, when Chavez Jr. was more or less a, quote, novelty act. And now, he's the real deal at this point. What one or two things that surprised you in his growth to going from just being the son of a legend to a legitimate middleweight contender?
Well, I tell you what, I'm kind of baffled by it myself. I know one thing, as a fighter, when you get to spread with good fighters, you can improve. You can have any situation. If you have good basketball, the best pool players or whatever it is, tennis players or whatever, playing against the best, the game goes up. I know he's been very fortunate to training at the Wild Card Gym, and that's him boxing with a lot of the other good boxers out there. So that is picked up on. And then I guess, and you watch him, you can see he's watched 1 million tapes of his daddy. Because I used to, criticize him when I was doing the comments. I said, now here he is, about 6'1", and he's trying to fight exactly like his daddy, who was about 5'7". And he still does it. I could not believe it, but he's mastered it and became effective at it. Tall as he is, he's mastered it, knowing how to move a guy, get him squared off, and get into his bullying position, I call it, almost perfectly square, and just rip hard to the body. And the right little short right hand lead, he's became a complete, almost larger version of his father, which I thought would never happen, especially with him being that big. But it's worked for him, and I don't think I've known of anybody that may ever find a fighter that can be that tall, that has learned to almost totally emulate his daddy, but his daddy had a little bit more boxing skills. And in fact, one of the best boxers that I've ever trained was Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. And when I was training him, I said, why come you never show all these boxing skills that you got? He said, Stewart, look if Don King puts me in with Macho, Pernell, whether he would be just laughing. He said, I have to fight like this. But Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. was one of the best boxers that I've ever known, but he never got to do it in most of his fights. But his son fights just like Julio, the fighter. And he's improved. I just can't completely figure it out myself. But nevertheless, sure he is going into one of the biggest fights of the year.
And my second question, real quickly, Emanuel, I chimed in a few minutes later. I don't know if you touched on this, but Vladimir Klitschko, now you're fighting Marius Bach, I guess, in November. Another guy that you're going to be, extremely favored over, and not he's
a no-win situation. Go ahead.
Yeah, not much of a threat. Not much of a threat is expected. You would go through different motivational tools for Vladimir to try to keep him up for these fights, knowing that you guys are going to be 15, 20, 25 to 1 favor probably.
Vladimir is the guy that I told him, and we just talked yesterday. I said, well, this fight may not mean that much, but being heavyweight champion of the world, something always happens. Out of nowhere, something happens. But as long as you have the title, we just have to keep it. We could have given up the IBF rather than fight a Tony Thompson. But I tell you, but Vladimir's dream is to hold all of those titles. So he goes back and fights a fight with a no-win situation, paying a sanction money, which he pays to, I think, about 5 organizations, which is an unbelievable amount of money, because titles mean a lot to him. And and he feels very obligated, particularly to the IBF. But nevertheless, he wants to keep his title because all of a sudden there may be an Areola situation where his brother Vitali may quit, and then he's in a position to fight Areola maybe for the BC title or to be the first man to hold back 6 titles or whatever, 5, I don't know how it goes. And then you got upcoming, which always happens, you got the David Price, who might explode out of nowhere with a big win, Tyson Fury, who talks a big game, and he liable to come out of nowhere, you know, and we got, our American kid, I don't know, he liable to have 1 or 2 wins, but as long as you have the heavyweight championship of the world, all roads lead to you, and that's what I should tell Lennox, but we had to go through a whole lot of those type fights, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, they create a situation with him and Holyfield, which we never thought would happen. Boom, I don't know, Lennox Strider made about $30 million or $25 million out of it, which we never expected. Fights twice. Then Mike Tyson, even though Mike passed his prime, because I heard Mike going crazy at a press conference running across the stage. I think Lennox made about $36 million fighting Mike Tyson. But the thing is, you want to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world, you got to come through me. And that's the only way we look at it. And in Vladimir's case, he actually enjoys the training camps. He looks forward to it like a game. We got a new opponent, and we got to figure out a strategy how to solve him and analyze it, mentally break him down. And he's like a little kid. And we sit there just like hitting it, and every night studying, watching, seeing how he thinks, how he walks. So to him, he's still fascinated by not so much the magnitude of the fight, just the fact of going into a competitive match with somebody, maybe to us not competitive, but he likes the challenge of beating the guy, changing up different strategies. And also he's fortunate enough that, but this fight is not marketed anywhere, but over there, he's like a god. A Crisco event is unreal. And you're doing 55 and 60,000 people. And they don't care who he fights. It's a total event from and for sometimes the next 2 days or 3 days after the fight. It's the front page of all the papers. I don't mean the sports. This is the guy from Red Bull. This is the star actress from here. They come out with champagne. They start sometime at 4:30 in the afternoon. 4:30 in the morning, it's over with. Parties, champagne, a live concert at one end of the stadium, then another live concert at the other end. So they have learned and marketed so much that it's a total event, and they're like gods over there. And what's interesting also, they don't even care about knockouts or whatever. They just love the event. They love the boxing skills, and that's something that I'm over there always going crazy and screaming and hollering at him about. But if I don't, he'll just sit and box and enjoy himself all night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think another thing I've seen a preview for is Louis Manny. I've seen a preview for that Klitschko, the documentary. And I think a lot of fans over here in the United States are really going to catch on to them and see the struggle and what they went through and how they are as human beings and how intelligent they are. They're both super intelligent. A lot of people don't realize how intelligent they both are.
Yeah, they're very special, they're very intelligent, very compassionate, and they donate more money than anybody I've ever known. I've saw millions that they've donated, particularly to their kids in African countries and graduated and fully educated, a lot of kids that are professional people today that they have taken and raised, and they donate mega millions, and I saw it. And they never, ever say anything about it. And that's basically what both of those guys spend most of their money on charitable events and traveling around the world doing things like that. But you'll never hear them ever say anything about it. But that's just in there. But in Germany, they are not boxers. They are like gods over there.
Yeah.
And the Ukraine, I understand that too.
I used to like the good old days when someone used to put on a boxing show like Benitez used to be entertaining to the fans, and now a guy like Benitez will get booed out of the stadium.
Oh yeah. But the Klitschko, the fans, but they love the techniques, the moving, making the guy miss, jabbing, throwing. They love it. Vladimir, beautiful. Oh, Vladimir hit it with the jab. He made it miss. Vladimir. They get into that. It's a different culture for the crowd out there. I mean, so we're in a different game, and I'm screaming and hollering, knocking it out, and going crazy, cursing and everything. And,
they're very respectful. You don't even hear the crowd.
Yeah, but that's what they like, and they want to go back and drink their champagnes after the fight and have a wonderful time. That's all that they're interested in. They're not worried about knockouts.
Yeah. Hey, Emanuel, this is Michael Dolph again. Let me ask you a question. You mentioned earlier that you and Vladimir watched a lot of watched a lot of, just little things about every kind of fight. He's one of them guys that sit with you and watch the footage. What's your opinion on fighters? A lot of guys, a lot of trainers don't want their fighters to really watch tape. They'd rather watch, do it themselves and come up with a game plan. Do you, prefer your fighters watch tape with you and talk it kind of with them, or does it got?
I insisted on that. I taught Latimer when I was training Linux. That was one of my main things. So in our gym, we have 4 big supersized screens set up, and from the time we start training in the morning, morning training and afternoon, those screens are showing continuous tapes of whoever, Tony Harrison or whoever we're fighting, over and over and over, and it's amazing. After about 5 weeks or whatever, what you will see and keep learning. And even the sparring partners who are sitting watching, they would pick up on things. And after a certain point in time between that and other things, we could understand exactly how a fighter even thinks. We study, and like the last fight with Tony Thompson, Latimer said, we had the situation once where they were supposed to come down a little hill together promoting a fight in Austria. And Latimer, who likes all that skydiving and stuff, him and Vitali both got a little wild, crazy side of him that people don't know about, and kite surfing and all of that. But anyway, Latimer's case, a very deep something, he came down and Tony wouldn't do it. And I said, come on, man. He says, Tony said, no, man, I got some kids. I have a lot of kids. I can't get on. So Latimer says, at a certain point in the fight, after he couldn't really land solid on Tony, he says, I'm going out and bring his daddy man out. And that's what I know what he meant. He just came out and started just playing, roughing him up, and Tony was afraid of possibly getting hurt because he's thinking like a father now. I have a lot of kids, and those are the little small details that we study. And you learn how a guy thinks. David Hay, we studied his mind, his mental makeup. And those are little small things that we analyze in addition to just watching the videos and us being mistakes. But in my case, I like it. Working with my fighters, doing that. And a lot of trainers, they don't. Everyone is different. But it's been effective for me.
Hey, speaking of Tony, I was off the phone a little bit earlier. What's his progress to you? I don't know if anybody's asked about Tony, but I've watched a lot of his fights, most of his fights. So I'm a DVD guy too. I got fights going on all the time. And I watched a lot of Tony's fights. To me, he has that young, Hearns-esque thing going on. Do you see him developing before your eyes, or do you see just, what are your thoughts about his progress?
Which one are you talking about, Tony?
Tony Harrison.
Oh, Tony Harrison.
Yeah.
I think he's progressing good. He's a very, very talented fighter. In fact, I think he's fought on 3 of Klitschko's cards. And the first thing when Latimer spoke to me yesterday, he said, make sure we got to have Tony Harrison on the card. I said, he on the card. He's become the super excitement fighter on all of the Klitschko cards because of the knockouts. So he's like the Tommy Hearns that gives the fans the knockout, before Latimer comes out and gives them his technical clinics. But I think Tony's progressing very good, and being in the camps with fighters like Latimer all the time and watching his discipline and his training habits, and also watching great tapes of Hearns, Ray Robinson, and Sugar Ray Leonard, and all those type guys. It's been very good for him, and so he's developing into a very good fighter.
How long have you had Tony, Emanuel?
Since he's been boxing in the gyms around here off and on. I don't know about all of his fights, but he was very talented in 3 other sports, though, and that's where he had a chance between his football, I think, track, and basketball to go to college. And then he decided just the last couple of years to really get serious about boxing instead. And so after to go in the gloves last year, I said, that's where I turned professional. But he's been around in the gym sure in Detroit training back and forth, but never having that much interest in it as compared to what he has now.
Okay.
Well, Matty, hey, man, look, I know we kept you, what did I say, 15 minutes, and it's been 15 minutes times 3. I know it's late on the East Coast. I'm saying maybe in the next couple of weeks or so, can we resume this discussion, bring you back with everybody, and we talk again? I apologize for keeping you long. I hope you enjoyed talking boxing.
Frank, actually, before he goes, I wanted to ask you one question.
Manny,
being that you trained Chad Dawson for a fight, I think we forgot to ask you to pick. Who are you picking and why are you picking them in the Dawson-Ward fight?
Well, that's a fight that, not just because I'm working it. It's a fight that the slight odds would have to still go probably to Ward because of Ward's hometown advantage, still undefeated, has not a lot of fights in many years. And, it's not like if one fighter was way better than the other fighter, you would say, well, there's going to be this or that. But the talent level is very close. The most talent between the two, though, is, to me, I think, still Chad. Because when Chad wants to really be explosive or do certain things, he can be breathtaking. But then sometimes he takes a little break in between and he goes into a holiday, like I call it. And then he explodes again. But if he decides to stay busy all the way through and in a good mindset, he can win the fight. It's a fight that either guy can win, I would say, because of maybe that little slight hometown and the fact that Chad is in fighting at 75. And even though he can make a 68, sometimes the human body is funny. You get down to 170, even 69, and you're okay. And that 1 pound difference is like the whole cut. It can cut off your whole body system, goes totally crazy. And I don't know. And so therefore, so even that advantage, so it's like you'd have a little nod toward Andre, but you wouldn't be that comfortable about it.
Yeah. I think I agree with Manny. If they able to keep him on the outside and keep his distance, he's got a hell of a shot. But if Ward is able to close the distance, it's not going to be a fight real quick. Because once Ward gets on the inside and gets that distance on the fighters, he's just
Ward knows how to win fights. He may not knock out people, he may not impress them, but he knows how to make adjustments to do whatever is necessary to win fights.
Hey, Louis, Emanuel, real quick. I just want to throw this in there talking about Ward Dawson. The thing with Dawson is he's fought. I believe I went back. It's been 5 years, I think, since he's fought anybody below 30 years old. Now, I think with Ward's a youthful fighter still. I don't really think that Dawson's going to be prepared for what Ward has. He's been used to fighting the Tarbers, the Hopkins, and even it is the Hopkins. He's a hell of a fighter. He's a very tricky guy, but he hasn't fought any youthful people for so long. I think that he might just not deal with the speed. He's not. I don't think he's going to be used to it. And I think, like you said, Emanuel, being in the hometown, it's going to, weigh a lot on him. And plus, that 168 pounds, it's going to be, it could be trouble. But I feel also that part about the youth. I feel Ward is more youthful than anybody he's fought in a long time, and I think that could be the key as well.
I'm glad you and I have never really looked at it that way. I'm looking at so many other angles. But that's something that you just mentioned is a very important point. I never looked at it like that. He is fighting a youthful guy and a guy
he hasn't fought anybody in his 30s for 5 years. 5 years.
But also, Ward, I've been knowing Andre since he was 10 years old. And, I can't even remember the last time I ever saw him lose a fight. And that'd be all that super impressive, but he's one of those guys that always in the tournament, always was consistently winning. And you have to look at that to some degree. What's another interesting fact is, as an amateur gold medal winner, Ward was fighting as a light heavyweight. And it's so funny looking at his hat at that same stage. I think what Dawson was fighting as a super. But anyway, these weights are back and forth. But yeah, you have a good point there. This is the first time he's fighting another young, youthful fighter, and in his own hometown too.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, Manny, listen, before anybody has any other questions, we got to do a part 2 of this. So everybody save your questions, Manny. In the next week or two, can we get you back on the show, please? I'm going to bother you. I'll call you a million times like I did today.
Okay, no problem.
God bless you.
Okay.
Hall of Famer, superstar, Emanuel Steward. Check him out, HBO. Check out the Kudgis, all that good stuff. We appreciate your time tonight, Coach. All right, there we go. Hey, guys, real quick, we're going right into, we got